Welcome to this brief Zoom tutorial. This particular tutorial is focused on utilizing screen share to share your PowerPoint, your notes with your students, as well as utilizing the chat for communication while you are teaching your students in the Zoom meeting. The first thing that I'm going to do before I actually bring up my PowerPoint and screen share, there are a couple of panels I may want to have open during the meeting for monitoring the class. The first of which, if I hover down here on my toolbar, is the participants pane. I may want to have this open so that I can see who is joining me or turn off any mics if needed. The second pane that I want to have open would be the chat box. That's something I'm going to want to use as we go throughout the class meeting in order for students to ask questions and for me to respond if needed. I may not need the participants panel, so I'm going to go ahead and close that for our example today, but I am going to have my chat box open so that it's ready for engagement with the students in that way. Now I'm ready to begin my class, and I want to bring up my lecture notes or my PowerPoint that I'll be using, and I'm going to use the screen share for this option. I'm going to hover down here on my toolbar and select the screen share option. You'll notice a new window opens, and anything that I currently have open on my computer is there for me to select. I can share any of those things. I'm going to, of course, share my PowerPoint. So you'll notice I had that open before I started the meeting and before I went to screen share. That's definitely something you will want to make sure that you do before beginning. So I have that open and ready. I could also already have it in full screen mode and it would show up as a separate window, but for sake of this example, I'm going to leave it like this so that you can see me navigate it further in the screen share. I also want to draw your attention to these two boxes at the bottom, Share Sound and Optimize for Video Clip. If you are going to be sharing any video or any audio during your meeting, whether it's in your PowerPoint or elsewhere, you will want to make sure you select both of these options so that your students will be able to hear and see the best quality of that video or audio that you're sharing. For this example, again, I have my PowerPoint window selected and I'm going to select Share. You'll notice that now I am in screen share mode, and as the host, I see just the screen that I have chosen to share, which is my PowerPoint presentation. I may want to have that video panel available, and I may also want to have my chat box open, and that is easy to do. My toolbar is now at the top of my screen, and I just hover up there. I can see my toolbar. The first thing I want to do is open my video panel, so I'm going to hover down to More and click on that. And of course, I've got options for recording, for reactions, for breakout rooms, but here I'm going to go down and find Show Video Panel. I'm going to select that, and you may have noticed that little sign that was showing that was not part of the screen share. It was blocking my screen, and it would have shown up to the students in their view as a black or gray box. Now I've got my video panel open here, and of course if I had more individuals as a part of this meeting, I might have another option, and I could choose to have just me, my box showing here, or I could have a drop down of multiple boxes. I also wanted to have my chat open. If you don't have your chat pulled up and off to the side, know that it will notify you whenever new chats are coming in, but you will have to open it to see what those messages are. So before I get started with my lecture, I have my video panel. I'm also going to select chat, and often if it's the first time you're opening it, it may show up in the middle of your screen. You're going to want to move that off to the side so it does not block the rest of the screen that you'll be sharing with your students. So I just have this pulled off to the side, but I'll be able to type and then pull it over to see what the chats are as we go throughout. I'm ready to begin, and so I'm going to, because I'm screen sharing, I'm going to just go down to the slideshow option on my toolbar in PowerPoint, and I'm going to click to open that full screen. Now my presentation is open and ready to go. My students will be able to see it. I can also check the chat off to the side. In order to navigate through my PowerPoint, if you hover over the PowerPoint, you may have to click down here in the bottom left area where my arrow is. You see a set of tools or icons show up. They're translucent or clear. And this is how I'm going to be able to navigate through my PowerPoint with these arrows. And you'll notice then that I'm actually able to navigate through my PowerPoint and to teach my content while also being able to engage with students in the chat box if necessary. You'll also notice that I may have links to other web pages and videos in my PowerPoint. So let me show you what happens and how you need to navigate that if you want to utilize these. This goes to an article. I may want to bring it up to reference it or to use as a quiz to talk them through the content. So I'm going to click on that. And it's going to take a moment. You'll notice here that it says it's surrounded by an orange box and says, please move this window away from the shared application. Currently, it would show on your student's screen as a gray box. They wouldn't actually see the content. So that means I need to do a new share. You do not actually have to stop share. You can just select new share. Obviously, you could select stop share, but that adds more steps. Instead, just hover over new share on your toolbar, click on that, select that window, and click share. Now, this is the screen that your students will be able to see. And you'll notice because it is a new share, my video panel disappeared. That will happen anytime you switch your screen sharing. My chat box is still open currently, so I can see that. I can navigate through and walk them through explaining this if it's something I want them to do later. Now that I'm done with this, I can either close it out or I can hover over my toolbar and click New Share to go back to my PowerPoint. If I clicked New Share, then I could click my PowerPoint and go back to where I was. But let me go back there for just a moment. There we go. If I close out this window, I want you to see what happens. If I close this window, for a moment it will show my PowerPoint, but then it closes out the screen share and I'm back to my gallery view. That's easy to reconcile. If I just click my share screen, I can go back to my open PowerPoint and everything is back to normal. Again, I'll need to open my chat box and set it off to the side, and if I want my video panel open, I'll select that and have that off to the side, and then I'm ready to navigate through my PowerPoint again as I explain the different parts of this class to my students, and I'm able to utilize the chat box as well. Hopefully this will help you have a smooth course or lecture with your students as you share your PowerPoint and engage with them in the chat box.